What's up, everyone? Hello. Whew. So these past couple of days, I completely were just, I felt like I had to hibernate for days. Oops, give me 1 second, guys. I felt like I had to hibernate for days after the 3 days training that I did last week, because basically what it felt like was I felt like I had the rug pulled underneath of me completely, where all of the ugliest stuff were just resurfaced, like brought up to the surface, where I had to completely eradicate it. So emotionally, mentally, physically, I was drained. I literally slept at 6 p.m. last night, and I woke up at 9 a.m. and I still feel so pooped that I could literally feel like sleep for another 24 hours. So I want to share a story that showed up for me yesterday, and it's so relevant because it's Father's Day. Happy Father's Day to every dads out there. But yesterday was my first day back home. I booked an Airbnb last week to do my leadership training, and then when I got home, the first thing that the first interaction I had with my dad was that, basically it was like the smallest thing ever. Like, for someone looking outside, he asked me to help him with making some copies for something that he needed to get done, and that's no problem. Like, I don't mind helping him make copies, right? It's such a small issue. But then, like, something in me got so triggered. I got so mad. And anytime we get triggered, anytime we feel anger and frustration over an external event, that's only a sign that there is something in your heart that needs to be healed, right? For me, I was just really, there was like a two parts of me, right? Part of me got triggered and got so frustrated just because my dad asked me to make copies. And then there was another part of me that was so confused, and I was looking at my anger shoulder. I was like, why the heck did I get so mad over the smallest thing ever? Like, it was literally such a small issue. And then I was like kind of debating, like, there was a part of me that was just feeling so angry. Like, I was frustrated that my dad didn't ask me like how was my training. He didn't ask me like how like what happened. He didn't ask me anything about me. So I got upset because like he asked me to do something for him the moment I got home. And then it started to send me back into all the memories that I have as a 9-year-old when we first came to America as an immigrant. Like, my parents don't speak any English. So like as a 9-year-old little kid, I really had to take on the role of an adult and really do things like make phone calls, write checks, read letters, like all of the things that adults had to do, I had to support my parents with because they just couldn't do it, right? So like it just brought up all of the resentment, all of those frustration that I had repressed back when I was 9 years old up until like I'm 25 now, right? So there's a lot of emotional shit that is in us that unless we heal them, unless we shine a light upon them, it's going to continue to run your life. It's going to continue to create all these detrimental reaction, right? What happened with me was a reactive response when my dad asked me to do something so simple that didn't even take me like 2 minutes. I got so frustrated for no reason, right? And I just really dug deep. Like I tried to figure out like why was I so triggered. And those little things show up in so many different ways in your life. It showed up in the way that you show up at work. It shows up in the way that you interact with your loved one, your intimate partner, right? Those triggers, unless you literally pull out the rug and clean out all the dust, all of the moldy stuff, like it's in you. It's gonna continue to be a part of your being, and it's gonna continue to run your life. So I got frustrated and I pretty much stormed out of the house, and then there was a part of me that got so mad at myself for the way that I was responding. Like I just couldn't believe like how how mad I got over the smallest thing. So, and I went for a hike. I went for a hike because I really needed time to be by myself, to take full responsibility for what happened, right? That was one thing that I also learned over the 3 days training at the leadership training, is how can I be 100% responsible for what happened? I'm not taking responsibility. I am being responsible, right? There's a huge difference between the two. So when I went for a hike, I just repeated in my mind, and I actually spoke out loud, like, I am responsible for everything that happened this morning when my dad, when I felt so much anger over at my dad, and when I stormed out of the house. And then I started to look at all of the different perspectives that led to that event happening. So I was responsible for never opening up with my dad, never told him anything about what's happening in my life. I was responsible for not even giving him the opportunity to ask me how my life is going. I never was fully present with him. I was never even there. I didn't ask him how was his day. I didn't, basically what I did was I owned up to 100% my part for how I created that situation. And so I said I was 100% responsible for not being able to sit there and be with my emotions long enough that I could handle the situation in a more responsible way. I was responsible for storming out, for misunderstanding my dad. I was responsible for feeling anger because I didn't deal with the shit from the past. So just by turning the whole situation towards me, how I was responsible for everything, it made me feel 100% empowered, right? And then any relationship conflict that can be dissolved is just simply looking at the bigger picture, right? My perspective was correct. My dad's perspective was correct. But can we get to a place where we can embrace both perspectives to be accurate? And I was able to get to that. I was able to drop into my heart and really get to look at the bigger picture. I understood that the 9-year-old me, the 9-year-old version of me, I was resenting my dad, was resenting my parents for making me do all the things that I shouldn't have to do as a little kid. So I understood, coming from that place, why I was feeling angry. So that perspective was correct. And I was able to look at my dad's perspective and be like, okay, Miko never opened up to me about her life. She never even told me why she went away for 3 days. I saw through the eyes of my father, and I saw why he didn't ask me how my training went, because I never even told him about it. And then that allows you to cultivate such a deep level of compassion, not only for yourself, but for everyone around you. And that creates magic. It creates so much magic in your relationship. And then I had a conversation with my mom after that, the same day last night. I was just telling her why I was so angry, why I felt the way that I felt. And then guess what? She told me exactly what happened. She said that my dad was feeling kind of jealous that I was telling my mom everything, but I didn't tell him anything. So it's just so amazing to be able to see things from a bigger perspective, and that really dissolves a lot of the miscommunications, the misunderstandings between intimate relationships. But it all starts when you can when you can be 100% responsible for everything that shows up in your life. Stop blaming other people, stop being a victim. And then I started to do the same being responsible game with every other things that showed up in my life, my financial situation. I was 100% responsible for the lack of abundance in my life, because I was constantly focused on the lack. I was constantly focused on money going out versus money coming in. I was basically, you can play this game with so many different things in your life. And when you can be 100% responsible for every single freaking thing in your life, you become empowered. You have this power to be creative with how you respond to life. You're no longer running by reaction. You're no longer reacting based on the wounds from the past that you never healed. You get to look at what's really been running your life. You get to look at, like, I got to look at why I reacted the way that I did, right? It was not conscious. It was so subconscious in a way that 9-year-old Miko, who was so angry at my parents for making me do all these things that no 9-year-old should be doing, that part of me was still running my life because I was not aware of it, because I would never heal that part of me. And I want you guys to think about this for your life right now. Like, anytime you catch yourself reacting to what someone else says, reacting to what this person did to you, really question, like, why did I react the way that I just did? Like, where did this come from? Where did this frustration come from? You know that it's not conscious. You know that you didn't choose to act the way that you did. But where did it come from? That is something in the dark that's running your life right now. So play with that today and be 100% responsible for everything that shows up. Be 100% responsible. And I'm not talking about taking responsibility. That's different, right? What you can take, you can give it back. What you can take, it's kind of like, it's an action. It's not a way of being. But when you be responsible for everything, it doesn't matter what another person did. How are you responsible for creating that? You become so empowered. Oh my gosh. All right, so that's all I want to share with you guys today. Like, that literally showed up for me yesterday. Even after being gone for 3 days doing the work, like, I still get to look at so many things that showed up in my life that is still being run by my unconscious childhood patterns, like the childhood pain. But we don't need that, guys. We don't need that anymore. We get to create from a clean slate. We get to create from a place of inspiration. We don't need to continue to hold on to the emotional baggages where we are doing things to avoid pain, doing things to get love. We don't need that baggage anymore. So that's all I want to share with you guys. Let me know how your day is going. Hi, Karen. Hi, Tyler. Hi, Stanley. All right, guys, I'm sending so much love from my heart to you. I hope you have a fabulous Father's Day. And yesterday morning when I was going through all that anger and frustration, I had a dear friend of mine who said that, like, yesterday was going to be her father's birthday, but, her father is no longer with her. So, like, it really just reminded me what a huge blessing it is to even have your father to still be in your life. It doesn't matter how terrible they are, right? It's a huge blessing that we still have our parents, have our loved ones in our lives. So, like, send them love. And it's not even just about Father's Day. Do it every moment of the day. Another thing that I discovered is, like, all I really care about now is, like, the moments that I get to feel the sun on my skin, the moment I get to sit down and be with my parents, the moment where I can have a meal with my parents. Those are the moments that only matter in my life. Like, and if this moment now, I have a beating heart, I'm breathing, I got the money that I need to spend on whatever I need to spend now in this moment, nothing else matters. Absolutely nothing else matters. So, all right, guys, gotta get coffee because I am still, like, I'm just so drained from last week, but I'm sending so much love from my heart to you, and I hope you have an amazing day. And I'll see you guys tomorrow morning for Rise and Shine with Miko. Take care.